Happy Halloween. Hey, Halloween, great day, fun day, a lot of stuff happening at the end of this evening. Hope you have good plans. We have, we're going to do some trick or treating, and then I'll take my girls over to a haunted house, which we'll go through real quick from last year's. And then after that, I'll drop them off and they can go watch videos, scary movies with their friends from school. All right. Today we're talking about Deadmond Ave. We have that haunted house again. It's not a haunted house, it's a haunted treat. Haunted listings from experienced real estate agents and horrifyingly true real estate stories. On top of that, I'm going to read you a haunted story from Haunted San Jose. This is a book you can pick up on Amazon. I don't have the link, but you can pick it up. It's pretty fun to watch or read. It's easy reading. Okay, let's get into this. Obviously, we're going to do the highs and lows as well. So let's talk about this. Haunted home listings tales experienced by real estate agents. A flooding by hanging. I was selling a house that was in foreclosure for an elderly woman. It was a $500,000 house, but decorated in late 70s style, so I needed some updating. While I was painting and staging, all the faucets would turn on all at the same time, all over the house. I would then have to go into each bathroom, kitchen, turn off the water. When the house was being inspected after getting it under contract, I held my breath, hoping the water faucets wouldn't turn on all at once with the inspector on site. The inspection was going well until I heard a very large stream of water flooding in the basement. I rushed in and turned the water off at the main. I then had the plumbing fixed and damage remedied. It turned out that the seller had forgotten to tell me that her husband had committed suicide by hanging himself on the water pipe in the basement. That exact pipe broke. Whew. All right. Real quick, I'll have you watch little bits and pieces of this. Fast forward this so you don't have to watch 2 hours of it. This ghost guy is still here. I helped put it together yesterday. This is a fun little haunted treat. Come by. It's really quick. The line goes fast. It's quick, 5-10 minute. I know this guy from playing hockey, and one of his girls does gymnastics, and we see each other at gymnastics tournaments because my girls do gymnastics as well. And it's a lot scarier when it's at night. It is truly. All right, so enough of that. You can watch that. The video is going to be on the blog, so jump into the blog. Here's another one. In 2000, I bought an old house in northern Tangiafoa Parish in Louisiana. My house was fine, but there was a house across the street that everyone said was haunted. It was previously owned by a doctor who did illegal abortions. There was some really creepy medical equipment on the third floor. The husband died and the owner sold it in 2003. Several people had died in the house, including children. They sold the house to someone who spent the night in the house and the next day went straight back to the realtor and demanded to rescind the sale. And I know he said rescind, but it's rescind. He said there was dead people everywhere. He sued and won since it had not been disclosed at the act of sale. I understand that the house has a terrible violent incident like this. Like in Amityville, they must disclose that too. It's absolutely true. If somebody dies on your property, you have to disclose that. Now, the law and the rules that we govern state anything less than 3 years. But I always say if somebody did pass away on the property, I don't care if it's 3 years or 30 years, make sure you disclose it. It's always better to over disclose. Always better. Period. Okay, I'm going to jump into what's the probability of a recession. Well, we need a recession. I mean, we need a recession. We need to see this thing come back in. There's a couple different ways that this can happen, right? the economy collapses, and then we see all sorts of people hurting themselves or getting hurt because they get laid off and they can't make payments, and they lose houses and they lose their hot cars, which cars are being returned at an alarming rate. But there's two different ways. They can do it through inflationary means, or they can do it through deflationary means. And the best way for us to do it is through deflationary means, which means the cost of living actually goes down, slows down the market, slows down the economy, and what have you. But when we see an inversion of the 10-year and 3-year nominal, actually, that's not it right there. It's the 10-year and 3-year. When we see an inversion happen, that means a recession is imminent. We need to slow down this economy because we have runaway inflation right now. And if we don't do anything about it right now, it will hurt us when the can gets crushed. Can't just keep kicking it down the street and wait for the next series of government to come through and kick it down, because there's more and more people suffering and having a hard time making ends meet all over the world. So there's another one right here. So we're here and we're expecting a downturn, right? Okay, so there you go. That's that. Now, Haunted House San Jose. This one happens to be San Jose State University on page 52, right here. See, look at that. San Jose State University, known familiarly as founded in 1857, California State Normal School. It was the first institution of public higher education in the West, and originally a college for training teachers, mostly young women. Interestingly, San Jose campus opened, blah, blah, blah. Hoover Hall. It's actually where they put the kids to sleep, their dorms. And there used to be 6 of them. Now there's only 1. And they built bigger, larger buildings for it. The building most likely to be talked about in hushed voices around campfire or during freshman orientation is Hoover Hall, one of the 6 3-story brick dormitories of the Southeast campus. This group of 6, which opened in 1960, was known collectively as the Bricks and is still called that today, although 5 of the buildings have been removed. One of the demolished buildings, Hoover Hall, was the epicenter of a number of paranormal claims, including showers turning on in the women's bathroom. It's like always plumbing with me, right? Plumbing, toilets, what have you. Including showers turning on in the women's bathroom on the first floor, and reports of menacing and uncomfortable feelings in the first floor rooms. Many residents said they never felt completely alone in their rooms, even when no one was with them. Dun, dun, dun. The building and its most notorious ghost story also haunted a haunted phone booth in the spirit of a murder victim who replayed the last moments of her life in a graphic residual haunting. Phone booth. I have a friend on Facebook who loves phone books or phone booths, so maybe this will pop into her feed. Legend has it that a young woman was attacked in a hallway somewhere between the 2nd floor on the way to her room. Terrified and bleeding from her injury, she ran screaming down the stairs with her knife-wielding attacker in pursuit. She attempted to find the safety of a telephone booth in the lobby of the building, even getting as far as dialing the first 2 digits of 911. When her attacker caught up with her and dispatched her with several vicious stabs of his knife, assuming it is a he, she bled to death in the phone booth, her lifeblood staining the walls and the floor around her. Generations of students in the building spread stories of her bloody figure running down the stairs, screaming for help. Those attempting to use the telephone in the booth often found it out of order, and it would only dial the numbers 9 and 1. Later, cell phones become ubiquitous. They stopped using it. But some students claim to hear the phone ringing in the middle of the night, even though it was no longer there. Perhaps it was a young woman calling for help from beyond the grave. Okay. Read this book. It's fun. It's historical. It's a great way to spend some time with kids and take them all around San Jose and learn stuff. Like at the Santa Teresa, Bernal, Gullneck Farm. There's a haunting there. Silver Creek High School. There's all sorts of great little hauntings in this. So make sure you do pick one up and share it with your kids. All right, let's get into the highs and lows. The highest sold house this last week in Santa Clara County was Ridgecrest Avenue. It was listed for 11.8, sold for 11.8 in 24 days. And it's a beautiful house. Look at this. Oh, only one. So they took it out. So you can't even look at it anymore. Saratoga Elementary, Saratoga High. And it's in Montecito, which is Los Gatos area. And yeah, I mean, you have a nice gated area there. Okay, so the next one is the lowest priced. And we're going to see this twice. Comanche Trail in Los Gatos, 37 photos, $650,000. Can't beat that. Look at that. It's nice. Nicely updated. But here's the thing, guys. 1,000 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 93 years old. You know, for $650,000, originally listed at $950, sat on the market for 112 days, and they sold it for $650. So those are the houses you want to look for when you're struggling to buy a house. You find something that's been on market for a while, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is the highest list price to sales price ratio. It sold for, let's see, 165% over list price. List price 800, sold for 1.32, sold 7 days. Guys, this is the best way to sell a house. Doesn't matter what you list it as long as it's underneath what it is, you're going to get a ton of traction. I can guarantee you they had 15, 20 offers, if not more. There's no reason to snivel and talk about how you can get the price as high as you can and look for the motivated buyer. That's wishful thinking. When you do it like this, it becomes a blind bid. There's a lot of buzz. There's a lot of action. And look at this house. It's just kind of boring. I mean, I would have much rather have that house up in the hills, up in the redwood forest than this, because this is an old Eichler. It's all beat up, original everything, you know. And look, there's a broken window there. It's just beat up and old. And the only reason is because it's in Sunnyvale and it's close to Apple Mountain View. It's near all the high paying jobs. 1.3 for a house. That's just crazy. 165% over list price. And we're going to go back to this Comanche Trail, because believe it or not, it came in at 65.3% of original list price, which means it's the lowest list price to sales price as well as the lowest sales price of the week. And look, again, it's smaller, but it's been updated, right? I'd move in and get rid of those shingles. I'm not a fan of shingles on the siding, but it's a nicely updated house. You have septic, you have, probably you're going to have issues with electricity. So you get yourself a generator. But this is country living, and it's not too far away from Los Gatos. So you can go down to Los Gatos and have your breakfast and come back and check it out and chill out. So there, it took 112 days. There you go. Guys, this market, I have 2 listings coming up, and I already have offers on them both. It's crazy that, it depends on where it is, but if you price it right, it doesn't really matter. We're starting low, and we're going to get these things sold up as high as they can. One of them is a standard 3-2 older house, deferred maintenance. We're going to get rid of some stuff, but it is what it is, right? People want houses, and they either want it turnkey or they want original. Doesn't matter. There's 2 different types of buyers out there. but people are willing to buy a house in its current condition. And right now, because the market's kind of contracting, you're not going to see a ton. But if we went to go do upgrades at a house and we listed at 700 and it was worth 1.6, you'd get it up around 1.6, maybe even more, because if you have the buzz going, there it is. But we're going to list this thing low, probably 1.1, and we're going to expect 1.3, that area. And then there's another one in East San Jose, which is less than 1,000 square feet, 3-bedroom. It's real rough. Probably going to get 800, 850 for it, but we don't know. It's just crazy times that we're living in. All right, today we had Halloween. Talked about scary listings and scary San Jose State and Deadmond Ave. Guys, come on by today. Danny's going to be there all day. I'll show up pretty early to hang out and check in with him and make sure he's happy and that he doesn't need anything major. But come by 6:30, 10:30 tonight. I promise it'll be like 20 minutes. You'll come in, wait in line for about 5 minutes, go through, have some blast, come by, say hi to me, and then you can go on the rest of your week, the rest of your night. Happy Halloween. I'm Vito with Abitano. We'll see you out there.